Wineaux's demise. Baron Frances fingered the pistol he wore around his stomach. "Ihr ist Herr Rundell," he sneered. He smirked malevolently. Methodically, he pulled out the pistol and aimed it at the defiant man before him. "Herr Rundell, you don't have to die like this. Just tell me where the Carling jewels are and I will spare you. Simple." Mr. Rundell, who had been captured by the German SAS, simply shook his head. "Ah, well," sighed Baron Frances. Outside the abandoned house, you could hear a gunshot, and then silence. 271 miles away, the detective Thomas Wineaux sat at the cafe in Bayonne. His eyes analysed the bustling street. He made sure that nothing slipped past his view. There was a woman walking her dog in the park, an old man smoking a long pipe and reading The Lord of the Rings, and a teenager scanning Detective Wineaux, who turned his head slightly as to analyse the lad more carefully. He had a hoodie with a jaunty cap. Also sporting a gold watch, he was texting furiously on his phone. Wineaux got up from his chair in the cafe and began to walk past the teenager. Looking over the boy's shoulder, he saw what he was texting. The message on the bright screen was, "Found Wineaux. Going to lead into HQ. Get ready." Wineaux took in all this information, and so he began to take a purposeful stroll, making sure that he would be seen by the teenager. For the next 5 minutes, Thomas Wineaux would lead the teenager round random twists and turns. But the detective didn't know that he was going to walk straight into a trap, round multiple corners, until finally... "Hands up!" yelled a man, dressed in Kevlar armour and wielding a machine gun. Cursing himself, Wineaux knew that he had been outsmarted. Bile rose in his throat. He tried to think of a way out of the predicament, but it was no use. Reluctantly, the detective put his hands on his head. The teenager came round behind Wineaux and swung his fist round and smashed the detective on his head. Black spots danced behind his eyes. He pitched forward, unconscious. When he came round, he was in a dimly lit cellar, handcuffed and on his knees. In front of him was a portly man, dressed in rich clothing and smoking a big fat cigar. "So, Herr Wineaux," the unfamiliar man began, "you have been meddling with none of your business, you fool. That is why I will kill you very, very, very painfully." The despicable man left the room. Wineaux was left alone. He shuffled to the wall, inspecting his surroundings. The wall dripped with a yellow substance. The detective, having a light bulb moment, rubbed his handcuffs against it, and they snapped clean off. Wineaux scrutinised the substance. It was acid. It had saved him. Brimming with anger, he got the handcuffs, which still had the acid on, and wiped it on the door. Slowly, the door began to disintegrate, and Wineaux dashed down the corridor, saved by acid.